Well, hi there, my singing friends, and welcome to HeartSong. So in this video, I would like to share with you what HeartSong is and how it might be able to help you. So if you are a female singer with a burning desire to be able to share that song in your heart and free yourself from the barriers that are preventing you from that authentic expression and confidence in your voice, HeartSong is for you, and you are the inspiration for this program. And a lot had to happen for me to get to this point where I was inspired to create this. And I think that it's going to give you more value in this video if you have a little bit of an idea of where I came from for all of this. And so it started for me when I finally found the courage to take ownership of my own voice and to utilize it as the vessel for what was really important to me, which was to use it to inspire people through American music. And just as an example, so this is an interview that I did where I kind of started to talk about the seedlings of these ideas. And this idea continued to develop for me because as I do give performances, I'm often asked if I would do a masterclass kind of in conjunction with those performances. And I love doing that. What I started noticing were some patterns. And what was really interesting to me was it didn't matter the musical genre. It didn't necessarily matter the years of expertise or like the level of the singer necessarily, that I was seeing these recurring patterns. And they were that there were some gaps in knowledge with the understanding of how the voice works, with how to express authentically to an audience through your voice, and confidence was another big one. And when I saw these things and I saw this pattern happen, it really hit me hard because those things have been things that I have dealt with in my life, and I know what that can feel like. I know what it feels like to have a barrier that's blocking that deep desire in your heart to express yourself authentically. And I also know what happens when the fun and joy of singing turns into more of a stress because those barriers are in your way. But what I also know is that it doesn't have to be that way. And so that was what really inspired me to start HeartSong. And so let's talk about a little bit about what that is, okay? So here we are, and HeartSong it's a year-long studio program for female vocalists, okay? It's gonna start in the fall, and we are limiting this first year. We're capping it at 25 people, okay? And so this is a studio community for female singers of all levels who want to take control of their vocal abilities, they want to build that confidence, and they want to be able to share their unique musical gifts with the world. And so this kind of person, right, this open-minded, supportive person, this team player, that is so much more important than the level of experience that you have as a singer. Okay, so I really want to emphasize that to you. And to this point, I think it's also very important to understand who this is not for. So closed-minded individuals that are not willing to explore new ways of learning, HeartSong is not going to be the ideal fit for you, okay? This is for people who are results oriented. So if you are not somebody that is results oriented, if you are not really willing to put in the effort to take action, this is not going to be a program that serves you because we are results and transformation driven in here, okay? Also, so people that are interested in working completely in isolation, that don't really have that desire to share the journey with other people and to contribute to a studio community, this is also not going to serve you, okay? So no judgment or anything to that nature. I just want to be upfront with you about that. And last but not least, this is a no bully zone, okay? We are on a transformative journey, and especially with singing, there is a degree needed of vulnerability. So I really celebrate and honor that courage that takes. So diva bullies, you know who you are, okay? And this is not the place for you, all right? Because we have a journey that we're on together, and we don't have time for any of that, all right? Now, one thing that you may be thinking about, so you thought like, well, Audrey, you've been mentioning this studio community, but I've always thought of it being like one-on-one lessons being the way that this is really supposed to go. Well, I can understand that, but actually, it has been shown that human beings were actually built to learn in groups. And this is not just in our early education when we're children, this is actually for our whole lives. And it's a really cool thing, actually. And I'm not trying to bore you here, but I do want to show you some things just because I don't want you to feel like you have to take my word for this. So this is a study and some information that Carnegie Mellon University put out about the benefits of group work. And I really loved the way that they really got individual skills broken down so that we can see them clearly. And I thought they were really exciting. So I was happy to share this with you. So here are just a few things that they say, these abilities. So the ability to break complex tasks into parts and steps is more easily achieved in a group. Planning and managing your time. I really liked that one. This one I thought was really great. Refining understanding through discussion and explanation, right? So we need those other people in order to have those discussions and be able to refine our understanding in that way. Giving and receiving feedback on performances, challenging assumptions. I loved this, right? When we're in the group, sometimes we get that tunnel vision when we're by ourselves, and there's really no greater way to break out of that than a group atmosphere, a positive group atmosphere that really helps us to expand our perspective, and that helps us grow so much, right? And of course, with that, we're going to develop those stronger communication skills. And to me, these just got even more exciting. I loved this one, tackling more complex problems than they could on their own. So if you can imagine what it will be like to have a positive environment in which to go through the vocal transformation, right? To have people to share with, bounce ideas off of. That is a wonderful atmosphere to tackle those multifaceted issues and the multifaceted situation of learning how to sing. And I loved this one too, sharing diverse perspectives, right? And being able to pool our knowledge and skills. There is so much value, and it's priceless, really, when you're in a diverse community atmosphere, what can happen. I actually liked these next two together. So we're going to go, so this one, so receiving social support and encouragement to take risks. And I loved that. It's so true. And what I also felt strongly was to see, when we're in a social environment that is supportive and encouraging, that is the perfect setting to hold one another and be held accountable, right? And so what happens when this accountability is manifested within an environment that is truly supportive and encouraging, the organic sense of motivation and momentum that is naturally cultivated, it's incredible. And that can channel and focus our energy. It makes the quality of our time increase. So we are able to make transformations and to have growth at an exponential rate that we would probably not ever be able to equal by ourselves. So I loved that they talked about this. Of course, again, with diversity, we're going to develop new approaches to resolving things, right? So new ideas, new ways of experimenting with things to see if something works for us. We have all of those resources of the ideas of others at our disposal, and we contribute as well. And to that point, I loved these here, and I felt like they had a relationship with each other. So establishing that shared identity with other group members. Well, what is our shared identity? It's our desire for that transformation. It's that desire to connect with others through our vocal instruments and to break down those barriers, to really solidify that self-worth and to hone those storytelling crafts to make that possible to the degree that we truly want. When you're in a group with other people that share that desire, that shared identity gives you such a sense of strength and fortitude. It's so incredible. And yet at the same time, right, this last one, you develop your own voice and perspective in relation to the rest of the individuals in the group. Well, why is this possible? Because you are making those unique contributions from your perspective, and you're adding those and you're contributing those to the group for the benefit of everyone. And you are benefiting from their contributions. And so it's this beautifully virtuous cycle that makes learning possible at a depth and a speed that is something that you cannot equal with a one-on-one lesson or by yourself, right? And so this idea, I'm so glad that Carnegie Mellon gave us these skills laid out in such a clear way. I really appreciated that. But this is not a new concept. We have known about this kind of social learning for a really long time. And so here's just one example. I think we probably all know John Dewey, right? I don't know about you, but whenever I go into the library, I'm like, oh yeah, John Dewey, the decimal system. So he was, of course, one of our most celebrated and influential educators. And this is what he had to say. So he said that the principle that development of experience comes about through interaction means that education is essentially a social process, and that this quality is realized in the degree in which individuals form a community group. I thought that was very well said. So thank you for letting me share those with you. I just really wanted to give you an idea of the things that have been proven of the benefits of the group learning setting and that group environment. There's just one more thing that I will say about one-on-one learning, okay? It's comfortable, right? It's comfortable. But if transformation is your goal, the comfort zone is not where you want to stay, right? And so that's why I was trying to emphasize earlier, I was trying to express to you, in terms of the people that HeartSong will not really serve, are people that are not results oriented, and they kind of want to take lessons just to kind of be able to say that they take lessons. And I'm not saying that to be critical, really. Like, if that is what you want to do, it's really no judgment here. But I just bring that up to say that HeartSong is for people that have a burning desire for a transformation. Now, what do I mean by transformation? Well, what I don't mean is that you have to have a dream of like singing at the Met or singing on Broadway. That's not what I'm talking about. What I mean is that you are ready to commit and show up for yourself and take those action steps necessary to achieve your specific goals, whatever those might be, because your success is the group's success. And that is what HeartSong is all about. That's why we're doing this. We're doing this to transform you. Okay, so we've got the community setting structure as that foundation of HeartSong, but what about the content, right? So what's our unique approach here? So HeartSong, we have a kind of three-pronged approach here in terms of the core content that is involved. So this is a combination of the vocal mastery, vocal technique, the storytelling craft, and the self-confidence fundamentals. So when I started to implement these things all together in combination, I finally found that vocal freedom and that really deep sense of self-worth and confidence that I had been looking for a really, really long time. But, I wasn't sure if, did I just find what worked for me? Was this going to work for my students? I wasn't sure, but I decided to share these concepts and techniques anyway. And so this is what happened. So this is my student, Nikki. And Nikki had a burning desire to express herself through her singing. But there were a couple of barriers in her way. So first of all, she needed a clearer idea of the way that her voice worked and how to gain that mastery over her instrument. But she also needed some help so that she would stay grounded in more high pressure situations like auditions and performances, and singing in front of anybody. And so what we did is we got that vocal mastery down. So we made a clear game plan for her of the vocal steps to her understanding and her practice so that she developed her voice the way that she wanted. And we developed a specific game plan of mental action steps for her to solidify her self-confidence and actually to turn the tables on her approach and her mindset perspective towards auditions and singing in front of people. And what happened was amazing. So she finally was able to have success. And I want to be clear about what I mean by success first and foremost. What I mean is that she was able to eliminate those barriers that were blocking her from being able to fully express herself authentically through her singing. So that was her first victory, was that personal inner victory. And yes, for Nikki, that led also to that external victory. She was given the solos that she, was trying to achieve and the roles that she was trying to achieve. And so things really built for her from there. And so this picture is actually from Nikki in her dorm room. She just finished her first semester, her first year at the Berklee College of Music. And this was her first, just like a little clip from her first cafe performance there. So I'm really, really proud of her. But I'm sharing this with you today for a specific reason, which is to say that this is the kind of transformation that I want to make possible for even more students. And that is the reason that I am starting HeartSong. So now, how are we going to get you there? What's the platform? How's this going to work? So HeartSong is taking place on an online platform that's completely self-contained. So it's separate from social media. It's a safe space. It's free from distraction. I absolutely love it. And I'm not one that's a fan of social media. So for me to say that I like this, I really like this. It's just a fabulous forum space. So and what we're going to do is we've talked about before, right? It's going to teach these three big things. So vocal mastery, presentation, and confidence fundamentals, okay? And this training content, it's going to be available for you online 24/7 on demand. So you can work at your own pace, in your own timetable, in your own schedule, okay? And so these goals and action steps, they are going to be laid out for you in a specific order. So the content is given to you in a very specific order so that you can achieve fast results and within the most time efficient manner. Okay, so you don't have to waste time thinking, oh gosh, what's my process going to be? Is this even going to work? We've got that all straightened out for you so you can just dive right in and start making that transformation happen for you. Okay, and so a few of the examples of what this content is going to include. So body alignment for sure, breath support, and I teach these things in combination with, we learn about kind of the science of it so that you can have these images, you can develop those things for sure, but if you ever get up one day and it's not working, you always know where to go back to. Again, I want to empower you to really get to know your own instrument. And so that's why we come from those areas. To that same point, eliminating extraneous tensions, that's a big one. Vocal resonance, vocal registration. So these building blocks are all taught in a very specific order so that they accumulate for you in the way that makes sense and the way that you can build on them. We also are teaching those presentation skills, so the way that you can convey things, the emotional expression and the deep meaning of your pieces. We really teach you there are ways to practice this. There are actual techniques and ways to practice this to get those things to be just a part of you in a very confident way. So we teach that to you. And also, last but not least, these confidence fundamentals. And again, not just in theory, there are proven methods of brain science that we utilize and that we incorporate with very clear intentionality in here so that you are building that foundation of self-worth. You are making sure that you are the one in charge of you and that it's your instrument and it's your relationship with that instrument. So we really help you cultivate. And again, it's really that perspective that turns the tables on having something to prove. Now you get to have something to share. So it's such a liberating change, and I'm so excited to share that with you. Okay, so this is that content there, but as we've said, this is possible at this exponential rate and depth because it's you're being exposed to it and you are going through this in a group setting. So how are we achieving this group aspect? Okay, so we are having 2-hour studio sessions twice a week. And these are open for, of course, we want members to be there as much as they possibly can. We would love you at every single one of these for the whole time. I do understand and want to stress it's not mandatory that you would attend every single one. Like, I understand that. And something that's going to help you with this, we do record each of these sessions and we put that in a section for you, very easy to find within that core content on demand, so you can access those at any time. We just did that. I wanted to give you those 2-hour sessions twice a week because I wanted to be able to accommodate the scheduling for everyone so that at least you should be able to attend at least like one part of one session a week. But of course, we want you there as much as you possibly can, okay? And within these sessions, what we're going to be working on, so this is the time come into these sessions excited to share what you've been working on, what's been speaking to you, where have your triumphs been, what milestones have you reached, how have you been experimenting. I'm really excited to discover everybody's unique approach and to really celebrate and legitimize those, because everybody's approach is unique and we can all learn from the unique way that each person is approaching this content. And if you have questions, if you're kind of working through something, you want to to kind of bat that around back and forth and get some feedback in real time from me and play around with ideas, you have questions, this is the time for that to happen. And what's wonderful is that while we are having that time together, everyone else is observing. And so everybody else gets the benefit of your journey and vice versa. So that is such a tremendous benefit. And it's how this growth can become exponential. And we're going to keep this community going. We are not just having it, during those 2 times a week and then radio silence. That's one of the beauties of this online platform, and I really, really love it. And that is that it's set up in the structure of like a community forum. So members are able to, at any point, ask questions. I'll be in there all the time answering your questions, attending to your needs, what you need from me. But it's also a chance to ask opinions of others in the group, to get their feedback, to contribute to the group, things that they might find helpful, things to that nature. And so this really is, it's great. And what I love about this platform is that it actually encourages and rewards this kind of commitment and this kind of collaboration to the group. And so what happens is it boosts the success and the quality of the experience for everybody. And something else that I really would like to say to this, I hope that from this you kind of get this feeling of empowerment and of, even if you don't have a lot of vocal experience, that I still want you to come into this feeling like I have some authority here, right? That you have some authority here. And what do I mean by that? Well, so yes, I'm a professional singer. I have my master's, okay, blah, blah, blah. And I have a lot of teaching experience. And so I will be in that leadership role of guiding everyone through this content. So if you want in that way to say I'm an authority, okay, shorthand for, okay, that's fine. But here's where I really want to distinguish, okay? To the degree to which that may be true, fine. But what I never will be is an authoritarian. And I say that because what I see so often is this really unhealthy student-teacher relationship where there's a dependency there. I've always found that to be such a disservice to the student, because it's the singer that has to get up, right? You're the one who is developing the relationship with your instrument. You are the one who has the song in your heart that you want to get out. You're the one that's trying to express your human experience through music, right? And so I could gain all of the experience in the world. I could go to school for 1,000 years. I would never, ever gain the ability to jump inside of you and to be the authority about what it feels like to sing with your instrument. And even as you are working on your awakening of your awareness of what that is, you're still the one with your voice, right? And so I want to really empower you that where I'm concerned, and in HeartSong, you have a seat at the table where your own voice is concerned, and we want your input, and we want you to be empowered in that way, because again, your success in that is the group's success, and that is how you contribute to your transformation and to the transformation of everybody, okay? And so at the end of the year, we're gonna have, I don't wanna call it a recital, that sounds so like stilted and from my conservatory days, and I want to break free of that. And so I'm calling this a studio celebratory performance event at the year's end. And so this gives us a chance to really just take a step back and say, oh my gosh, look at the transformation that happened. Look at the amazing, authentic expression that we have now found to be possible, because we've solidified our self-worth as intrinsic, right, as separate from our voices. We've learned how our voices worked. We've been empowered with that knowledge. We've shown up for ourselves in the discipline, in growing our instruments, right, in that practice. We've shown up for each other. And now we're here and we're just basking in this amazing transformation that's happened. And we're just reveling in being able to share through singing. Each of us will share the song that we've been working on, and we'll be able to just have such a profoundly moving musical experience together. And that is really what this is all about, right? I mean, why else do we really have that burning desire? It's to share, right? And to connect. And so that will give us that chance. We'll be doing that throughout the year, but then we're going to have this event where it's like, yeah, that's what we're here for. So anyway, y'all, that's what HeartSong's all about. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to share this with you. I'm so excited about it, and I hope you are too. And I tell you what, if something that you just saw in this video or that you heard, if something really spoke to you or really resonated with you, please go ahead and book a call with me. I really want to have a conversation with you. I want to find out where you are in your vocal journey. I want to know what your goals are. I really want to know what you feel like has been holding you back from reaching those goals. And I want to see if HeartSong is what you've been waiting for to finally achieve them. So don't put this on the back burner, okay? Because as I mentioned before, for this inaugural year, we're really focused in, we want this to be a year that is just mind-blowing, incredible, where I've got 25 case studies that I can just project to the world to say, like, look at this, it's amazing. And why do I want to do that? Because I want to further the mission of HeartSong, okay? So that's why we're keeping it to that small number this first year. And the spots are already being filled, which is really exciting. But they are being filled on a first come, first serve basis to the people that I'm speaking to that are good fits. So please don't wait, okay? Because this is going to have that close time when we've got those 25 people. So go ahead and book a call, and I really can't wait to get to know you. Happy singing in the meantime. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.